Kettle Hill, 11 a.m., round one. We're going to have 4 turns. In each turn, we're going to conduct the U.S. phase, the Spanish phase, close combat if that occurs, and we're going to skip writing in the journal, but that's suggested to do. So here's the layout. Here's the setup that I did in the previous video. And we are going to go ahead and choose the Buffalo Soldier. So I have a spirit marker ready to go. So the first thing you do, make sure this is on 11 a.m. And I will draw 4 cards from the American deck, as I did in the previous video. So I'll just repeat that. Now, turn 1, first thing I do is choose one of these cards. I'm trying to advance. The Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt's going to give us a +2 on advance and rallies, +1 to Guion Barra. Parker's Gatlings, this is good. You get to attack one of the areas. So let's do that. Let's do this card. And so Parker's Gatling, basically what you're going to do is select a map section, and that's going to either be tile number 4, 5, or 7 because they have enemy units, Spanish units on them. And you roll up to your 3 action dice. You get 3 actions. I'm going to roll all 3 and looking for 4s to create some casualties. And here's my discard pile right here. So grab 3 blue dice, looking for 4s. This is all 3 of my actions on turn 1 at one time. And I got 1 hit. And here's the 6. So I didn't tell you which one, but I was going to go for card number 4. There are 2 barbed wires here. So I got 1 hit. You simply remove it. And that was the first turn for the American phase. And now we're going to go to Spanish phase. And in that phase, you simply draw the card. And as Mauser rifles, you roll a dice equal to the terrain value of the card. And each 5 is going to create 1 hit, 1 stress on the Americans. Well, they're not on board, and so I don't have a terrain tile. So basically, there's no action, and maybe that's one of the reasons I did that. Unless the designer comes back and makes that a 1 or something like that. It's sort of a free card. So it's a good thing to do is do that one first before they get on the board. So there's that was the Spanish phase. Nothing takes place. There's no close combat. That would occur when both Americans and Spanish are in the same terrain tile. They're not. And in the journal, of course. So we're going to move to turn 2 here, U.S. phase. So first thing I do, I play a card. I want to get on the board. These guys are going to help me. I think I'm going to go ahead and play the fear card. Now, basically, the fear card is no event. You just do your 3 special ones. And I'm going to do 1 dice at a time. And so what I'm trying to do is advance to this tile. And whatever I roll on here, I subtract this tile value, this number here, and then that's what remains is how many of these guys can move. Now I can add the leader, who is Color Sergeant, is going to give me a, well, not the +1 die roll modifier. So what I'm looking for is high number, obviously more than 2, and then add +1 to that. So here we go. First action, 6. Can't get any higher than that. +1 from the Color Sergeant is 7. 7 minus 2 is 5. So he's got to go because I used him. I used his die roll. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that was my first action. Get to do it again. I'm going to try to get these guys on. Right? And roll. It's a 4. 4 minus 2 is 2, and that brings the last 2 on. Excellent. Okay, got 1 more action, and might as well try to move further up. It's a risk because if I add the +1 to this guy, then if he goes by himself, then he's taking the hits. But here we go. We're gonna risk it. We're gonna go ahead. So let's tell you what. Let's not bring him. Let's not use the die roll modifier. Let's just go with plain roll here. And we got a 2 valued. Oh, 1. So that's 2 minus 1, -1. Nobody's moving. And that's the end of the U.S. phase. Spanish phase is going to be heat stroke. Roll a die. If the result is a 6, deal 2 stress to the Americans. And any other result is 1 stress. So in this case, I'll roll a white dice representing Spanish, It's a 4. It's not a 6, so 1 stress. So basically, in the card, the card that contains American soldiers closest to the enemy, San Juan Hill. So obviously this card, one of these takes a stress. I could either reduce one of these or reduce the spirit value on his card by 1. So what I'm going to do is just take one of these blue guys off, replace them with a stress marker, and that's basically represents a step loss. And that's the Spanish phase. Spanish phase. There's no combat because they're not, haven't reached here yet. And we move on to turn 3, U.S. phase. I played my 3rd card, and in this case, I think what I'll do is I'll play the Guyan Bearer. I get a +1 for rallies and advances. All right, so I have 3 actions, and the first action I'm going to roll, it's a 3, +1 from the event card. Okay, that'll get me a 4, and I'm using the leader +1 die roll modifier to advance. That would give me a 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. So I'm going to bring these 3 up. 1, 2, 3. Let's try this again. Second action. It's a 6. +1 from the event card, that's 7. 7 minus 2 is 5. So the remaining 4 come up. I have one more action, and I think what I'm going to try to do is rally this guy. Now, I need a 4 or greater, but I have a +1 from the event card. So really 3 or greater. And with my 3rd action die, I hit a 6. This unit rallies, and I'm back to full strength. That is the end of the U.S. phase. On turn 3, Spanish phase, I draw a card. Storm of Shrapnel. Roll a die. Each result of 3 or greater causes 1 stress. If it's a 6, you roll again, and it can cause more stress. So grab a white die. I'm rolling. Oh no! So that's 1 stress. Roll another die. Hopefully it's not a 6, and it's a 5. So really that's going to cause 2 stress. I can take them from here. Go ahead and replace 2 of these guys with 2 stress markers, simply showing a reduced step loss to these units that can be rallied. If they take 1 more, if I choose that, then they're eliminated permanently. And if I took it from the spirit, these guys cannot rally. So once you end up down to zeroing out here, then this guy would die. Okay, that was the Spanish phase. There's no combat. And journal, now we go to turn 4 of the 11 a.m. round. And we play our last card, which is one of my most powerful cards. Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt. We're going to add a +2 die roll modifier to all rallies and advances during this turn. So we're all together. Let's try to advance. We're going to have +2 from Roosevelt and +1 from our color sergeant. So let's roll our first action die. Oh, it's a 1, but we have +2 and +1. So we had 3 to this. That's a 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. Here's a situation I'm telling you is if this is the only guy up here, the leader, he's going to take the brunt of the attack, and you don't want that. You want to bring some cannon fodder to go with him. But luckily we have some more action. We roll again. Yes, 6 plus 2 would be 8. We can't use the +1 of the leader because he's already left his hex, and we're moving these guys up. So 8 minus 3 is 5. And we're going to bring 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I'm bringing my healthy units, and 5 be 1 stress unit. And I have one more action die. And I think what I should do, I can either bring this guy up or I can try to rally this guy. And I'm going to go ahead and, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and rally him. And that's going to give me a +2. I need a 4. 2 plus 2 with the Roosevelt event card is going to give me a 4. He rallies. And that's going to be the end of the U.S. phase. The final Spanish phase, Mauser rifles again. Roll a dice equal to the terrain value, and it's a 3. And any hits of 5 or more causes stress. So we take 2 Spanish dice, roll them. 1, 5, that's 1 stress. One of these guys is reduced. And that's it. We've completed all 4 turns. We had 4 U.S. phases playing in 1 card each. For the Spanish, we drew a card here. There's 4 cards drawn. There's no close combat because they're not in any one of these hexes that contain Spanish, so that won't happen. And if you would like at this point, you can record that in your writing. Your letters home, a recording experience of the common soldier, or as the commander, what took place. Now, what you would do now is you would reshuffle this to get ready for the second round, 12 o'clock, and reshuffle this, and then you redraw the 4 cards. And go ahead and move the turn marker to 12 o'clock, high noon. And I will return with round number 2.